Very good morning, my students. We have been taking a new lesson, the second lesson. That title you know very well, Lost Spring, written by Anis Jung. I told you in detail about Anis Jung. She was an Hyderabad-based journalist, also a very good writer, and also a good story writer. Anyway, she projects always the deplorable or pitiable or the downtrodden condition of Indian common people. That I told you in detail in last class. In this lesson we have two parts. One is related to Sahib A. Alam. The second part is related to Mukesh. The two major characters are there in this lesson. Both we are talking about, I told you this actually this incident took place in the year 1971 after the formation of Bangladesh. When I told you in detail all the details or the background that was related to the formation of Bangladesh. Now, in that year, in 1971, after the formation of Bangladesh, there happened a heavy storm and flood. So, Sahib A. Alam's family, everything lost. They lost everything. Their fertile land, their small house, and all their belongings were lost in the storm and flood. So, survival was an important question in front. So, what did they do? They immediately migrated to India, that I told you. They immediately migrated only for the survival, only for getting something to eat, only for getting something or some livelihood in India somewhere. But they knew the important place India. Or in the capital, they knew India's capital is New Delhi. Somehow they reached Delhi and settled at Delhi. I told you that we have discussed in detail in the last class. Sahib Alam, the meaning is Lord of the Universe. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know really the meaning of his word. If he did know the meaning, he might have thought about why should he was given such a name. So, two incidents we have discussed about it. Their only aim, they were in every morning the people in old Delhi, they could see just like army march, all the young boys were moving on their foot, barefoot they were moving, only to scrounge, I told you in the last class, to scrounge what was there in the litter or in the garbage, to get at least 1 rupee or something, maybe a piece of plastic, maybe something else. And if they could sell those things, it could be turned as money. So, they were roamed here and there or wandered here and there in search of all the garbage pits or all the litters, and finally they could get something. That was a survival. From what they could get, that was their gold also. They valued it as their gold because they reached Delhi without nothing of their own. So, what was available from the Delhi was really the asset of them. So, they searched everywhere, but each day they could get something, and our author could see one day they were moving and without chapels. That story I have told you in the other day. And at another time Shah Sahib Alam was witnessing, or he was keenly observing one tennis game. At that time he was fond of playing tennis, but there was, we know very well that discrimination was there in every community, discrimination. Here discrimination on the basis of caste. In India, discrimination on the basis of caste. At present also discrimination is going on in USA. So, discrimination on the basis of caste, region, or they were called migrated people. Or in Delhi, they are called squatters. Squatters means they are settling in a particular area without any legal permission, or legally they were not allowed to stay at Delhi, but illegally they came and resided in a particular area, but they could not. The government of India at that time did not take any strong action to repel from there or to banish them from there. So they were really squatters, and they had only one identity, and that was the ration card. I told you in the last class. That was their pitiable condition, or we could say the mean condition, or we could say their poorest condition, very poorest condition of their life. So like that story we have taken that their life, various turning points in their life, especially their one particular character, Sahib Alam. So later, one day but they were very much interested to keep their own master. They wanted perfect freedom everywhere. That is very important. Sahib Alam would like to have freedom of his own master. That means he wanted to keep freedom or liberty to talk or to do something and to earn something without the intervention of anyone. That means that was their or Sahib Alam's prestige issue. Now, the thing was that again one day the author could see, or Anish Jankor could see one thing. One day he was carrying a kettle of milk, or a pan of milk, or a milk pan he was carrying to a hotel. At that time, our author asked, how much money did he get out of that, from that hotel? He was employed, Sahib Alam was employed in a hotel to help that hotel owner or manager, and he was doing that business of serving all the food items, and along with he was also doing that tea and everything in that small tea shop. And our author one day asked, how much money did he get out of this? So he told that he would get 800 rupees in a month. And he had to bear that long pail of milk on his head from the milk booth to the hotel. That was a heavy burden for him. So he told that he was working under a master, so he didn't get much freedom. So he would like to relinquish, or he would like to go out of this profession or job, or he would like to go somewhere else to get another employment or to get another work somewhere. Though he got 800 rupees, he was not satisfied. 800 rupees along with the food also, food and shelter. The main thing was that he could not raise his words, or he could not ask anything, or he could not put forward any question before his master. The thing was that he didn't like to serve under a particular master. He would like to be a master of his own, he would never like to become, or he would never like to work under another or under a particular master. That was the main reason. So he came out of this, he went out of that business and came out, and again, what now? This, they were all mainly called rag pickers. Rag pickers. Rag pickers, the name rag pickers was totally given to all these students, all these boys, and every morning we could see all of them were marching forward, roaming here and there throughout the periphery of Delhi. Periphery means the outskirts of Delhi. And they could collect all those waste materials, they scrounge or search everywhere to get at least 1 rupee coin or maybe 10 rupee note, or sometimes they would get more. And they would collect a lot of materials from all these garbage pit or these litters. And they dealt all those business for the sake of the survival of their family and survival of their own, and they were leading a very poorest or very meanest life throughout his life. So that story we have discussed in the last class. That is something about this Sahib-e-Alam. Now we are going to have another character here. That is Mukesh. Now the author has given 2 parts for this last spring. Really, we could understand clearly that all were youths, and they migrated from Bangladesh, and this part, they were Firozabad in UP. They were here their main business was, they were bangle makers. Among those we are taking one important character, Mukesh. There in Firozabad there were nearly 20,000 people were there. So there, they knew one thing, that the people at Firozabad, the Firozabad name itself is well known in India because they are making bangles out of this glass material in a very deplorable condition, in a very stingy room, and also in very unhealthy and filthy condition. They are making all these bangles. Very colorfully, they are preparing bangles out of glass, and those Firozabad bangles are at present also very famous throughout India. So the people who located at Firozabad were fond of making bangles. We are going to study one thing, that the people there at Firozabad was really a people who were really the real sufferers in this sector. They didn't have any healthy supporting agency. They didn't have any hygiene. They didn't have any guaranteed health condition there. The government did not give any protection or assistance to their body or to the environmental healthy healthy condition was totally banned or deprived from that area. So very healthy condition was there. Then no hygiene, then They were not given, the authors or the manufacturers or their concerned factory owners didn't care to give them or to feed them sufficiently or give them food or sufficient protection or sufficient lodging or sufficient staying facilities. They were given very low or very meanest salary also. But they were forced to do this work because that was their traditional work. I told you that we have in India so many traditional employees, and those employees are really lacking all the facilities, or they are not providing good facilities by the concerned employers. That is the case in India. So here also they are having this very pitiable condition. Very young girls along with their mothers, and also very old people were working in this field to make bangles. So I told you that bangle making was their main business there, or they were expert in making bangles. So the condition of this making bangle was very important one, in a stingy or very small huts. Really they were residing in small huts, and it is called shack. Shack means very small hut. Only a structure of home is there. No convenience inside their homes. We could not even think of that construction. But in New Delhi or Delhi, in the outskirts of Delhi, at present we can also see so many shacks are there. So many structure of homes are there. But really we could say that these are homes. But they are living in shacks. They were living in shacks. And the room they were allotted for making bangles was also very filthy or very much lacking all the facilities. Even they didn't have the oxygen facilities in that room. So the main or the most important problem they were facing was the health condition, especially loss of sight. Loss of sight. At a particular model they were preparing these bangles, and the bangles, by preparing these bangles, they could very keenly they have to observe the preparation of these bangles. Meanwhile, gradually their eyesight was decreasing, or it was every day the power of the eyes was coming down. So one day, what happened now? So many aged above 60 people, so many aged people have become totally blind in that Firozabad. There was no one to show any pity or sympathy, or any particular person was not available to give any treatment or anything for, even not ready to give a good word for them, but they were losing their eyesight. That was the most pitiable thing. So you may ask the question, why did they take such a hazardous work? The only answer was they wanted to hazardous work. The only answer is that they wanted to survive in life. They had to survive. They only survive in the sense of food only. So that was the condition there in Firozabad, and all were engaging in that. And our author, many times author visited in those hutment area, very filthy, what we call gullies. We would say in gully. In filthy gullies, our author would often visit there in order to get direct information, or for getting direct information or a clear view about the concerned people. And our author felt much sympathy and empathy towards them, because they were leading such a very, very meanest life, such a very poorest life they were leading, or very deplorable life they were leading, and their health condition was in a critical stage. But people did not show any, they were not, heartless people were there. The authorities also, the Delhi authorities also, and their employees also, and they were very heartless people. They didn't show even a little bit of mercy towards this class or towards these people. So their story was going on like that, and they were giving all models, so they were preparing or making or manufacturing all models of bangles. All these bangles were sold out in various markets of India, and that and our employees got a good amount as profit. But from this good amount, they were not ready to spend a little money for the welfare of their workers or for this very pitiable class. They didn't they didn't bother about. They were really squeezing or exploiting their skill of manufacturing bangles. So that is quite happens in everywhere, and at present also that is happening throughout India and also in world also. Exploitation is done by the high class or the business or entrepreneurs. That is quite common everywhere in India and also in the world also, that we can see now. So our author Anisa once visited, and she was moving one atman to another atman. All are very closely related, all atmans. Though there were 20,000, we could not think about how 20,000 and more people are located or confined to this limited area. So that was their condition. So finally she reached one hutman or one, what we call, I told you that this very small hut she once reached. And the character of this particular person was, Mukesh was something different. All others, the author asked one important question: why could you change your traditional profession or traditional work? The answer came in chorus. What was the answer? That was the traditional work, and they didn't know any other work. That was the work that they have learned from their parents, or that was a transit work. It was a transit work. So that we know that the transit, that is word itself was very fond of them. Now suppose one were they had the people who migrated from Bangladesh, they settled or they made their canvas hut at a particular area or thatched, they made their hut in a thatched manner. Immediately when they got now any facilities there, or when they felt any unemployment there, or then they felt scarcity of water or food there, they immediately transited from there to some other place. That means they were moving here and there for getting better convenience and better facilities, to have their food and shelter, to have their employment facilities, like that. So Mukesh had a particular, everybody but actually a thinking process, or we have certain thoughts in our mind. Everybody has certain thoughts. Some people may not think about the future. What a person gets as his employment, as a job or profession or any work, he may continue in that. Some others are there, or a few others are there. They may think of always for a better standard of living, for a better moment of life, for a better change of their residence, for a better livelihood. So Mukesh, when our author asked Mukesh what was his ambition, our author asked everybody, the rest of the people, he asked all the rest of the people, but they had no other ambition. Their ambition was only to make this bangle and live with the earnings or with the live with the earnings of that bangle making and would content with that living out of this bangle making. They had no other dreams, they had no expectation in future, they had no other image in their mind, they had no other picture in their mind of a future world. So they thought of nothing else, only this. But here comes Mukesh, we have in our society also, in our cluster also, we have a lot of friends. There, we had a lot of ideas in our mind, we had a lot of visions in our mind, we have certain missionaries are there in our mind. For that, we are striving hard, we are working hard, we are doing a lot to come to that particular point of attainment. Here, Mukesh has had a particular aim in life. Our father asked Mukesh what was his dream. He immediately responded that he had a dream of becoming a mechanic. That is the important thing. He had to become a mechanic. Then our author asked a question: why did he select that post? Because all others had no other dream, no other expectation, no other concept in their mind, no other imagination in their mind. But Mukesh showed that he had to become a mechanic. The main thing, he got inspiration that every day he could say cars and vehicles are plying on the road. So he had a differentiated thought. There came a differentiated thought in his mind. So there came a particular concept in his mind. Why could he think about a new area rather than this bangle making? So other asked, how could he become a mechanic? So he replied, he would go to a nearby area, he could say that a large car repairing center or a wide range workshop is there. He could go there, and after that he could learn how to drive a vehicle. After that, meanwhile, he could learn and he could study various parts of the body of the car or vehicle and could become a mechanic. So that was a gleaming dream that came in his mind apart from his friends. From this we could understand the author put forward one important idea from this. And you know what is that in each and every nook and corner, whether a person who lives in a gully or in a remote area or in a very filthy area or in a very hygienic, non-hygienic area, whatever may be the condition, there should be a particular seed of thought especially in a very few people's mind of escaping from that field to some other restaurant. For now we could see one example in Kerala, Sridhanya. She came from Wayanad in the Wayanad tribal class, and she got IAS, the very scheduled tribal people. No, she was the first who came from a tribal clan and became an IAS officer in Kerala, and she is working as a IAS sub-collector at Calicut civil station. So we could understand one thing, that there should be a thought of change in each and everybody's mind. So Mukesh had one important thought like that. So the author again asked a question, why did he think about that? So the reply came. The author asked one important funny question, why could you make a pilot in an aeroplane? So immediately replied that he could not see any planes and he could not think about in a higher level of thought. He could not set a path, he could not send his thoughts to a very higher level. So he thought of becoming a mechanic. So that was the wonderful thing that the author could say, the author could find in Mukesh Mayam. So here what Anish Jung would like to explain here, though they were dwelling or residing in a very slum area or remote area, it was a clear, certain sensible thoughts of minds are there that we have to detect among those people, and we could fulfill those wishes or their dreams or their dreams and their profession well. So that is everywhere. We have to understand. Anish Jung is explaining this one now. We could see a lot of such figures are coming in various nook and corner of our society, though they are not leading a luxuriant life, they are not leading in a moderate life, they are not leading an exorbitant life. They are coming a very deplorable, poverty-stricken condition of life. So that is happening here, Mukesh also. So one day, so he asked about the condition of all these matters, and we would understand that Mukesh was a symbol, or Mukesh was a person who gives us pleasure and gives us expectation, who gives us expectation about a lot of future aspects in our life. So that is an inspiration, that is a motivation to we the people to open the door of a new world. There we could have what we call, we can innovate, we can aspire, we can find out a new world of surplus, splendid and overwhelming, interesting area that no one could achieve. So, with our own effort and with our own hard work or studious work and keeping perseverance, we can achieve this goal, and that is the final lesson that we have to, or that is the final message that we have to learn from this lesson. Then, more than that, we have to feed them good atmosphere, good surrounding, good background, everything. There are so many Mukesh are there in our society, and we have to understand their pitiable condition, that you have to know. My dear students, you have to read this lesson well, go through all the lines, because the question may come in any parts of the nook and corner of the passage. So study well, and if you have any doubtful area, please contact me in my number. I shall give all explanation. So study well, work hard. So let me stop. Thank you all. Goodbye.